There we are. Happy Spiritual Sunday. Yes. Happy Spiritual Sunday to all of you out there all around the world. Yes, we will give you a moment to populate. Tell us. Where are you in the world today? Not on earth. Oh. Let's see, who's first? Who's first? It's the race. Oh, Hawaii is first. Oh. Wow. Macedonia, Hawaii, Portland. Our three pillars. Oh, Honolulu. Sorry, not Hawaii. Honolulu. Okay. Macedonia. There's global. I mean, we're sitting here in Boca. We are, talking to people all over the world. Okay. Okay. Hong Kong. There we go. Hong Kong. It was so great to be there. Okay. 11 p.m. It's 11 p.m. for them in Hong Kong. Yeah. And I'm saying, and she's here watching us live. They don't sleep over there in Hong Kong. No. I mean, I can call some of the students, at like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and they're out to dinner. Me, I'm really out to dinner. Oh, God, this is going to be recorded. I'm going to have to edit this out. Okay, for YouTube, I have to remember to edit it. Okay. Oh, here we go. Florida. Gulf Breeze, Florida. Hi, Luz. The light. All right. So let's get started. Happy Spiritual Sunday. Happy New Moon of Gemini. It's the New Moon of Gemini today. Oh, the UK is in the house also. All right. So let's start with our affirmation. We want to have consciousness. Oops. Oh, I had it there. We want to keep, it's like on the computer, and you know me in technology. But anyway, if you write something on the computer and you don't notice it, even if sometime later, when you're rereading the document and you see you made a mistake, what can you do? Right? There's no mistake that can't be corrected. So you just go back on your computer. Even if you sent it to people, okay, you sent it out to people, but you want to change it now. So at least from your point of view, if you correct the word that you misspelled or whatever, you wrote it wrong, then from that point forward, when you send it out, it's perfect. Now it's up to and you can send it back to the people that you already sent it to with a mistake. Oh, this is very good. You guys are amazing. So what happens? Think about it from that point of view. You sent out an email, you made a few simple mistakes, misspelling or whatever it was, and then you realize the mistake, so you fix it and you send it out again. From your point of view, what did you do? You did what we call Kabbalistically your tikkun. You corrected your mistake, and from this point forward, you're now shining better light, brighter light, more clear light, or what have you. But the other person, as with the email, right? They get this second email. What do they have now? Yes. And what else? What option do they have? They have the ability to decide which one they're going to read. Right? Isn't it up to them? Not up to you. You sent out the corrected version. So in the same way, so when we look at our life and we say we did, or we acted in a certain way, we didn't realize, now we realize it. So you and I are understanding this is why we're leading up to the affirmation. It's a way of continually correcting the spiritual emails that we've been sending out all of our lifetime. Whatever, fear, anger, jealousy, insecurity, guilt, shame, whatever it may have been, we sent that out. Now you come to the center, you learn how to correct that. So from this point forward, you're sending out greater love, like we're going to affirm, greater love, kindness, and compassion. But it's up to the other person. It's their free will, which they're still going to look. Are they going to look at you the old way with the mistake, or are they going to now accept you in the newer way? That's their choice. Right? Stop trying to change other people and stop trying to even in a nice way, if you will, coerce or manipulate them to think better of you. Their choice, their choice. Start thinking better of you when you look in the mirror. Start feeling more secure and more confident that you're opening your soul more, you're unblocking your soul and letting more of your light go out into the world. So your interactions are better. If another person wants to accept you in the new way, let's say, great. They can still be your friend, they can still work with you, whatever it may have been. But if they don't, fine. Then let them move on with somebody else, somewhere else, somehow. And because like attracts like, you'll find another friend, but now the friend that sees you the corrected version, right? And connected to that corrected version. So this is what we're doing every week with this affirmation. We just keep correcting whatever blockages we've created through our previous reactive behavior by strengthening our consciousness. The consciousness is everything, which means the more aware I can become about how I've made those mistakes, then the more ability I have to fix them. And then I'm putting out better me, better light, more light, and the blessings have to come back. Okay? So those of you here online, make sure I got it for you. Those of you here, let's say it together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. And you notice, I have to raise my consciousness to do that. So when a person says, oh yeah, this is the same old, for us, for ourselves, not to judge other people, but when we walk around life and we think, oh, okay, this is just the same old, then we have to realize we didn't raise our consciousness. Because if you raise your consciousness one step, you'll look at the same thing that was around you yesterday, the same people, the same things at home, the same experiences, but you will see them as shining more light. You'll see them in a new way. You'll see them either perhaps as a sign of what you need to fix, and therefore reveal more of your light and blessings, right? Or you'll just find more value in them. They'll be worth more to you. You'll be worth more to you when you look in the mirror, right? Because that's where it starts. I mean, let's be brutally honest, so to speak. If a person could look in the mirror and in any way, shape, or form beat themselves up, then let's think spiritually, objectively, like attracts like. So if a person could look in the mirror and beat themselves up for whatever, then why shouldn't somebody who's in another body be able to say the same thing about them? Person looks in the mirror and says, stupid idiot. So why would they be shocked if on the street some stranger walked by and looked at them and said, you're a stupid idiot? Right? But we'd get upset because we don't remember we looked in the mirror and said the same thing about ourselves. If we start to have more consciousness, it's going to make life easier for us, number one, and we'll have more positive influence on others. So let's see how this goes. I was inspired by a talk from Michael Berg from a number of years back that I listened to a few weeks ago, and frankly, I heard it in a new way, which for me was a good sign, because it means, like I'm sharing with you, that means something changed about me, because I heard it another way, and I said, you know what? This would be good for a spiritual Sunday, because we all have to wake up. So you and I know that people walk around physically for one reason, because the Creator's light, we call our soul, is still in the body. In other words, what we call a dead person is when the energy of the Creator, the light of the Creator that's in our soul, when that leaves the body, then the body is nothing, has no life to it. But what I want to get across today is there are people who are physically walking around the world, but in various levels, including you and I, as we'll find out, in various levels, we're like the walking dead. We're like the walking dead. So the Kabbalists explain there are 4 people who are considered dead. And obviously we're not talking literal because they're walking around. So I want us to understand the meanings behind it so we can start to see about ourselves how we may be doing some of this and therefore how we can fix it. So in essence, we can awaken more life, but real life. Because there are people who are alive, but they're not living. And I think we all understand that, right? They're just walking around. as if they're robots, just zombies. They go to work, they come home, they eat, watch TV, whatever it is, go to sleep, wake up in the morning. You follow, it's like the same thing over and over again, just on automatic. So let's look at it and understand them. And most important, how we can relate and we can benefit. So the first person that the Kabbalists explain, who is one of the people considered dead? The blind. The blind. Now again, don't take it literal. Don't start thinking of people, oh, this one, this, is that what he's saying? No, we're not judging the person. We want to understand the condition. So in the simplest terms, what is blind? The eyes aren't working. The eyes don't function. Right? And therefore the eyes don't function, so they cannot see. And in certain levels, even you and I can relate. A blind person who's been, let's say, blind from birth, they can't appreciate the colors of nature, the colors of the trees. They can't appreciate how even their friends and family look. You understand? Just in its simplest level. So what do the Kabbalists explain? The blind, why does it say like the walking dead? A blind person in this frame, somebody who does not feel the pain of other people. Someone who does not feel the pain of other people. Meaning they're blind to the other person. So think. And I know, remember, we're here to push our buttons, but in a loving, merciful way. Because like we just affirmed, consciousness is everything. So when I can see my garbage, I have the ways and means through what we learn in the center from Kabbalah 1, how to transform the garbage to gold. Light, blessing, peace, love, harmony, all the good stuff. But if we're going to ignore our own garbage, then we could have this great technology how to turn the garbage to gold, to light, and still be missing out. The garbage will stay garbage because we ignore and want to deny and leave it aside, and therefore what can we do? We have nothing to transform. So we're stuck where we are. So not feeling the pain of another person. And I just want to give you an idea, because it was very impactful. When I first came to the center as a teacher in 1988, there was a gentleman in Israel who was blind. And after about a year, I heard the story how he became blind. Because he wasn't born that way, right? Apparently, unfortunately, in one of the wars that went on, he was in the army, and his friend who was with him out in the field, whatever they call it, a bomb struck, a rocket, whatever it was, and blew his friend to pieces right in front of him. And now imagine what he was feeling. Just try and feel that. He looked up in the sky and he screamed. Imagine the passion, the energy behind this. He looked in the sky and he said, if that's what life is, he doesn't ever want to see it again. And from that moment forward, he started to develop blindness. His eyesight went away. So think of those people in your life, or even think of the times you get a little upset, you get angry, whatever, or the people that you're upset with because they did something, they said something. And I'm not here to deny they said or did. But what we want to gain from this, because we are the same thing, when you and I are in pain, like this gentleman was, we will say or do things just reactively out of that. Not thinking, not whatever, but everything has power. Everything, thank you, blessings. Right? Every word we say has power. So here is this guy with all that energy, he didn't want to see life anymore, and he developed blindness. Now to take it back, to try and build up that much light energy for the rest of his life till he left the world, he couldn't do it. Because you and I understand that from our point of view, the negative emotions have much more power than the positive ones. So that person, whatever they said or did, we want to start feeling. Pause. Don't react. Don't take it personal. And I know it's not easy, but it's beneficial. Don't take it personally. Stop for a moment, and when you can feel the pain of that soul. Because nobody's going to react. You and I don't react. They're not reacting out of happiness and joy. They're not feeling the fullness of life, and therefore they're saying to you or doing that nasty, mean thing. So if somebody did something nasty, I don't care. Look at the world. I don't care what you call it. People who are murdering other people. Of course, we want to see that stop, which is what the center is about. Teach people to wake up the light inside them. And like we're saying today, to feel the pain of another person. But the person who has enough pain within them to go take another human life, imagine the pain inside them, what they're going through. So again, we're not excusing them, we're not exempting them. But if we, instead of angry and, just seek revenge and try and get rid of them in that way, if we could feel the pain inside them, then we can start to help them. And then maybe somebody will feel the pain when we're misbehaving in front of them also. That they'll realize we're coming from our pain and not from fullness, not from our light, not from our loving, kind side. So we want to start thinking, how is it, in what way are we blind? And sadly, for some of us, you don't have to go outside your own family. I mean, let's be honest, there are times when people in our own family push our buttons. And even if we don't say anything or we don't have a discussion about it, but we're feeling angry at them, we'll hold some resentment, right? And it'll stay there. Because why? We love them. We know they didn't mean it, but it hurt. So it's better you and I have the discussion, not in a screaming match, but let them know. Have it out, because we know they're not coming out of their fullness, and we're hurt not out of our fullness either, but we want to now come from the fullness of our soul. Love, kindness, and compassion, like we just acknowledged, like we just affirmed. So that's the first one. Blindness to other people's pain, right? And the world, look at the world now. Like we often say, if you and I and the students of the center could look around what's going on in the chaos of the world, and instead of making all the judgments and be reactive to it, if we could just start to feel the pain of those people out there for what they're doing, because they're not behaving from the light of the Creator inside them, are they? No, because the light of the Creator is going to guide us to kindness and forgiveness and tolerance, all the good things, not the bad stuff. So any of us in any way, shape, or form, major or minor, who's doing something that's not light-like, not of that good nature, then we know it's only coming from our pain. So we want to look at it differently. The second thing, people who have no children. Now don't jump the gun, because some of you watching or some of you may not have children. It's not literal. But if you think about it, if you talk to a parent, or I'll just share with you, my own observation. Okay. Before the center, I didn't think I wanted to have kids. I couldn't see bringing kids into this world, right? I was in spirituality, but a different form before the center. It was my first entrance into spirituality. I thought, look at the world. The world's not good. How am I going to bring kids into this? And then I also, to be very open with you, I thought, you know what? If I can find someone to get married to, I want to be able to just pick myself up and, go travel or whatever I may want to do. But if you have a kid now, you got to think, what do you do with a kid and this and this and this? So if you talk to any parent, any of us who are parents, as soon as you have a kid, your whole way of looking at life changes. You have a new calculation, right? Like I just told you. And I could say about myself, yes, I didn't think it was selfish per se at that time, but I could look at it and say, yeah, I want to just be able to, on a whim, pack the bags and go travel. But you have a kid, you got to take into consideration who's going to stay with them. Can they stay on their own, depending how old they are? It's a whole new calculation in life. So what do the Kabbalists say? The person who, in essence, we're talking the walking dead, means that they don't have, and don't take it an all or nothing, but it's relative. They don't have love for other people. There's no consideration of the other, right? Like with a kid, you'd have to take into consideration. So I'll tell you something that comes to mind right now, and I hope this will help a lot of you, all of us. Think of people in your life, and the more difficult are the people who are close to you. Parents, siblings, I don't know, even children, whatever. You have somebody close to you that keeps repeating the same negative behavior over and over and over again. So it started years ago when I first started teaching. Somebody was telling me about their sibling who every time they had a conversation or every time they would speak to each other, the sibling would do nothing but harangue, criticize, make fun of this person. And so by the time I was meeting them, and they're telling me the story, I said, so like, why do you keep calling? Right? They're calling because my sibling. I said, well, that's great. You have, like that, whatever, sibling love and care, but obviously from their side, they don't. So just because somebody is a sibling or somebody is a parent or somebody is a child or somebody's been a friend, don't keep expecting them if they've shown you 3, 4, 5 times that they have certain negative behavior. So I hope this is okay with you. So I told one person, how many parents would be angry at a 2-month-old baby for making a mess in the diaper? Right? Would you? No. You might be a little annoyed, you have to clean and this and that, but you wouldn't be angry. You wouldn't blame them for messing the diaper. Why? Because you expect them. What do you expect from a 2-month-old baby? That's all they know to do. So we have to translate in our own mind. These people are doing the same thing over and over and over again. I don't care who they are. They could be 40, 50, 60 years old and you expect them, well, but they're an adult. They should know better. Yeah, but so should you. There's a saying, the donkey kicks me once, shame on the donkey. Donkey kicks me twice, shame on me. I mean, who's going to stand behind a donkey that kicks the second and third time and now blame the donkey? That's the nature of the donkey. So I told this person, think of your sibling like a 2-month-old baby poopy diaper. So you don't get angry or whatever. Okay, it's a little annoying and this and a little messy, but at least start sending light. And you know what? I had one person not long ago who I told that same thing to because all his life his mother, nothing but criticism, because his siblings were better than him doing da-da-da-da. So I said, think in this poopy diaper. And I started just scan your Zohar, start sending her light. He calls me up after about 2 months. He says, you'll never believe this. I said, what? He says, his mom called him and says, I realize all your life, I haven't, been so nice to you. But I just want you to know that I love you so much. It was just like I wanted you to be better. But I love you. And he was shocked because no way, shape, or form did he expect that from his mom. And in his case, 2 months later, she left the world. So he got his desire, he got that awakening that she really wasn't just angry and hateful and spiteful towards him and just thinking he was a nobody. He got her to tell what was really inside before she left the world. So it no longer had to stick inside him. He was able to let go of it. So think about it, whether it's you who do it over and over again. So wake up from your side, decide you don't want to be the 2-month-old with a poopy diaper. Because now as an adult, not so comfortable, not so nice, right? From our side, but somebody in your life who's like that, just think that way. That's just who they are. Don't expect them to be different. So if you want to call them and have a conversation, expect they may do whatever. So you call, hey, look, I'm just calling to say hi, how are you, blah, 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 and then hang up, goodbye. Fine, but don't start taking personally whatever they may say. Just expect they're going to be the same way. If they'll change, great. Like this guy, his mom changed. Okay, that's nice. But if you're not expecting them to change, then you can't be hurt because they're not changing. Okay. The third one, poor people. Poor people. So now let's think about it, right? What does that really mean, poor people? So let me tell you the story first. So I grew up with somebody who literally, you got to be talking in the 60s, okay? $1 million, a lot of money? Yes. Yeah, even now it's a lot of money, So imagine in the 60s, this woman grew up in a house, just the house, forget the property, just the house, the new constructed house was $1 million structure. So imagine what that must have looked like, right? Just the house, $1 million. She grew up thinking she was poor. Why? Because they shopped at outlet stores. They shopped at outlet stores, like discount stores. So the Kabbalists explain what is a poor person. Somebody who feels they have nothing to share. In other words, a person who's, poor financially, you'd say, oh, they have nothing they could give, right? You ask them to contribute or whatever, oh, they have nothing, right? Because they're poor. But it's not just limited to that, right? People have other things that they don't realize that it can be shared. And that's the thing, people who believe that, like this woman, she believed she was poor because they shopped at discount stores. But obviously they were not poor. So it's a mindset that I have nothing to share. Somebody else is better than me, knows more than me, whatever you want to say. But there's no human being. And how do you know? How do you know you have something to share? Start with the most fundamental thing, because most of you have taken Kabbalah 1. There's one thing that every human being on earth is filled with, that we have no limit to sharing it. The light. The Creator filled our soul with light. And I've heard for 30 some odd years in the center from the Rav and Karen, your candle is lit and you're in a room with 1,000 people whose candle are not lit. You can take your candle that's lit, the flame, and you can share that flame 1,000 times. The flame itself never diminishes. And at the same time, by sharing it 1,000 times, the room is 1,000 times brighter because there's 1,000 more lit, glowing candles. So then how much more the light of the Creator? So if you can't think of anything else to share, at least share your light. Whatever form you may want to consider it, but even just simply think, pause, close your eyes for a moment, envision from your heart and soul a beam of light going out to every person on earth. Light is the ultimate thing we can share. Yes, you and I are learning how to share light through kindness, love, forgiveness, tolerance, apology, generosity, humility, appreciation, like that, right? Everything we do should be channeled with love in it or light in it, right? But even if you just close your eyes and envision a beam of light, you have tremendous power to share with people and awaken their soul. So then it's a dead person, I hope you're getting more clarity now, who believes they have nothing to share. And yet we all do. And the fourth one is literally a leper. Right? The biblical story, when a person had the disease of leprosy, if you read even in the literal Bible, it says they need to go outside the camp, they can't be within the community, etc., like isolated, whatever you want to call it. But you and I want to understand, what does that mean? Because there's probably not too much leprosy going on around the world today on the external level. But the Kabbalists explain what caused leprosy. Speaking bad about other people. In a way, they were more blessed back then, because a person who spoke badly about somebody else, when they got the disease of leprosy, it was easy to see the cause and effect or understand the cause and effect. Today, sadly, there are a lot of people, including you and I here and there, who speak badly about others, and we don't see, the world out there doesn't see immediately some disease, leprosy, or whatever, where it's clear to them. So it's much harder to diagnose, to see, to have consciousness of what we're doing, or for them to see what they're doing. So the one who's walking dead is the one who goes around just speaking bad about other people. And unfortunately, because I can hear it, what enhances the inability of people to have consciousness about what they're doing to themselves. Forget about what they're doing to the other person. But a person who let bad speech go out of them is now activating the negative energy inside them. So one of the traps of that opponent, as we call it, the adversary in our head, is that people who will speak bad about other people, as the old saying went, birds of a feather flock together, they will find a group of people who also will speak bad in the same way about the same people or the same situation. So then they're doubly not aware that they're speaking bad, because all they see is, oh, other people agree with them. So it can't be wrong. And I'm not trying to tell you it's right or wrong from the outside, but from the spiritual point of view, what goes out of a person, that by vibration is affecting them. So like we all know today, the scientists have finally caught up a little bit, and we know when people hold negative emotions, they hold the negative emotion inside them, fear, anger, sadness, guilt, shame. Scientists have proven with all the machinery that the immune system gets weak. And when the immune system of a human being is weak, what's going to be one of the first things happens? Some disease, whether it's a cold, the flu, or something worse, will happen because they have no physiological defense. The defenses are down, and then those things will show up. I grew up, my father was a pharmacist, so we grew up with a lot of things that, from my point of view, thank you, Creator, whatever, for having it. But way back, as far as I can remember, I understood that every person walks around with whatever, the germs, the virus, whatever, cold and flu. Everybody has it inside their mouth all the time. So when does a person get the cold or the flu? And you're talking, again, about it back in the 60s. So you're talking, 60 years ago? When a person's immune system is weak. Then the cold manifests. Then the flu manifests. That was back then before I had any thought about spirituality. It was just a simple scientific fact. People walking around with all that stuff in their mouth, but they didn't have an impact of it unless their immune system was weak. So now we're just seeing that on steroids with what's going on in the world. People talking bad all the time about all kinds of people and all kinds of things, but not even just, side talk. Now it's very pointed with all the negative vitriol and everything added to it, like real hatred about other people. And so you wonder why the world's in the shape it is. Right? And I'm not trying to make you depressed. I want the opposite. Wake up and go, oh my God, I never thought of it like that. So now what can we do about it? How do we change it? Because if you think in its simplest form, what is everything we said? The no children, the blind, the poor, the leper. What do they all come down to? Fragmentation, separation. Person believes they have nothing to share, meaning what's the connection between two people? If each one is only thinking about themselves, not even in a negative way, but just thinking they don't have what to share, they're two isolated people. When you share with somebody, you've created a unity with that person. I have something to share with you, and you're sharing with me, even just appreciation, gratitude, or just I share with you something with light, and you share even the words, thank you, Chaim, but with light. So now there's a greater bond between us. There's goodness. Somebody gives you a gift and you look in appreciation, you're sending light back, right? So there's a greater bond. So all these fours boil down, separation, separating people. So like I've told you, and I guess I'll tell you again, if you want to make bread, but all you've got is 4 bowls, and forgive me if you're a better baker than me or whatever, but you have one bowl of the best flour on earth, most, GMO, this, that, and the other thing. The other is the best yeast ever, the best eggs, and the best water, right? And they're all in separate bowls. Do you have now bread? You have all the ingredients, but why don't you have bread? You got to mix them together. And when you mix them together, do you now see in the loaf of bread, do you see the eggs? I know what you're going to tell me. Do you see the flour? Yes, because that's the bread. Okay, but you get the idea. You don't see it separate from the eggs and the water and the yeast, right? It's all together. So if you took, so to speak, even peacefully, you put whatever you want to call it, the Jews, the Christian, the Muslim, the Buddhist, in separate bowls, so to speak, around the world, just having like their own community, or whatever, the black, the white, the yellow, brown. You're following me like that? If everybody in their own bowl, in their own section of the world, but they're not mixed, and I don't mean mixing in that physical, but unified, then you don't have one human body. You don't have that one united soul. You still have fragmentation. And anytime there's a space, especially spiritual space between people, that is where darkness, the negativity, the thoughts of hatred, anger, jealousy, guilt, shame, judgment, etc., that's where it exists. You turn on enough light in any space, there's no more darkness. You turn a little less than total light, there's going to be some darkness. Even when you call it gray, right? If the room is gray, what does that mean? There's some darkness. What makes gray? A little bit of the darkness with a little bit of the light. You follow? No. Enough light, there's no darkness, no separation, no fragmentation, no more negativity. So we've got to start thinking, how do we resurrect our godlike nature? How do we resurrect the light of the Creator inside of us that doesn't just let us breathe and talk and, walk and stuff like that, but actually have life? What we're meant to have, peace, love, prosperity, joy, happiness. Wouldn't you like to know that if you dropped $1 million cash on your way, whatever, somewhere, that somebody would not just pick it up and try and run away with it. They would pick it up and do everything possible to try and get it back to you. Or anything along those lines. You need a little help. You got 8 billion people who are looking, how can I help you? Instead of just walking by. One of Karen's favorite stories, when the Rav and Karen lived in Israel and they were playing tennis. And they hit the ball over the fence. And somebody walking by, and they said, oh, please, could you toss the ball? Not run after the ball for them. It was like literally like right in front of them. Okay, maybe one step. No, I can't. I'm in a hurry. Probably took them longer to say that than just to reach down, pick up the ball, and throw it over the fence. So imagine you could have 8 billion people looking out for you. Anything you needed in any moment, somebody would be there. But at the same time, then, you would have to be of that same consciousness. If I walk by and I see somebody who's in need, let me share with them. Let me go help them in whatever I'm capable. Like we said, the poor person thinks they have nothing to share. Okay, like that person, walk by. Maybe they thought they had nothing to share, but here they walk by. Someone says, hey, can you toss a tennis ball? Now they have something to share. No. Even if they thought they had nothing else to share, here's the opportunity. Take 1 second, pick the ball up, throw it over the fence, and that's it. They shared. So we all have things we can share. We all have ways we can feel the pain of that other person. Even if you have to start with people who are close to you. Look back and see, when were you holding a little something against them in some way or another? Feel the pain of their soul. Feel the pain of their soul. And then decide, you know what, I'm going to love them a little more. Not just, okay, I'll let go. I'll forgive. No, love them a little more. Why not? What does it cost you, really? I know. You know what most people say? Especially Kabbalah 1, 2, or 3. Chaim, if I'm going to act in sharing towards that other person, they're going to then take advantage of me. They'll make me the dish rag. They'll make me the doormat. No, it's the opposite. If you're shining light, where does darkness ever enter light? Never in the physical world. Like I often say, you walk in a dark room, you pull out that little machine called a flashlight, you turn on the flashlight, you've activated the light, the beam shines out, what happens to the darkness? Darkness goes away. Have you ever seen anybody walk into a room full of light, pull out a little thing, a flash dark, turn on a beam of darkness that takes away the light? Any such thing? No. The only thing like that, and thank you for telling me, a person can walk into a room and because of their negative emanation, other people being affected by it will do what? Will say, oh, they just took the fun out of this room. But did they really? No. They came in negative. They came in down. They came in with indulgence. They came with the pouty face or whatever. Your choice, like we said with the email in the beginning, your choice to be happier and wake up happiness in them or fall down into their level. Your choice, not theirs. They don't suck the energy out of the room. You gave away the energy in the room and everybody else with you. So our job, you and I are students here in the Kabbalah Center, Spiritual Sunday. Our job is the opposite. Unconditional love, shine more light. Remember, unconditional means I'm shining light. If you're newer or new at this, it doesn't mean you have to hang out with them. Doesn't mean you have to be friends and be at their house all the time, invite them over. No, you could be on the other side of earth, but you can still be sending them light. You can be still sending them unconditional love. And remember, the first beneficiary is you. What goes out of you is what comes back to you. So you send unconditional love to 8 billion people on the planet unconditionally. They screamed at you, they did horrible things, whatever you think. But you send out the light, that light will come back to you. Don't expect it from them, like I've told you the poopy diaper thing. Don't expect it from them, but cause and effect, like attracts like. It'll make a circuit around the universe, it'll come back to you. Somewhere, some way in the right. Think, have you never had anything unexpected good happen to you in your life? Had stuff. Well, if it's unexpected, can you really say, oh, I planned it? I'm in control. No, unexpected means somewhere, somehow you did some good thing, and it took whatever amount of time to go around the universe and come back to you. And you didn't expect it from that person. It came out of nowhere. You're in the supermarket and somebody, whatever, started up a conversation. Next thing you know, you're in business together. You don't know them from anybody else on the conscious level, but suddenly they show up, or you start a relationship. Those things have happened. Because why? We sent the light out somehow, and it came back around. Just don't expect it to come back how and when you decide, and through whom you decide. Let your soul, let the universe find the best version to come back to you. How many times did you decide, I want that person, they're the ones I have to be in the relationship with, and then you get in a relationship. It's good for 6 minutes, and then all of a sudden, oh, what did I do? I didn't see that. I didn't see that part. I didn't see that side of them. I didn't see all this. Hello? Of course not, because you were blinded by your own desire to see oneself alone, right? They're going to make me happy. Forgive me. Fools! Nobody can make you happy if you're not happy with yourself. Again, it's not easy. I'm not telling you, and I'm not trying to tell you, oh yeah, I got it all mastered. No, that's why I share with you my process. I used to be shy about sharing my process. What do they want to hear? And everybody kept telling me, no, it's good to hear, right? Because that's what inspires me. You know, I've 30 some odd years before they left the world with the Rav and Karen. Tremendous inspiration. But even the Rav and Karen would say about themselves, you know, we make mistakes. But Karen would often say, that's why we put erasers on pencils. There's always a way to fix it. But open your heart, right? The Zohar says our heart has eyes. The eyes of our heart are the real eyes we see the world with. But they're either closed, like we know, somebody hurt us, really broke our heart. We closed the eyes of our heart, and now we're blind, like we said. So it's walking dead. No wonder the person not finding good relationships and this, because their eyes aren't open to be able to attract more loving, kind people. So you want all the good in the world? Just let the world shine. Let it shine out into the world, all the good. Walk by someone. What does it cost you to walk by somebody in the supermarket and go, you know, just have a nice day? You never know what that person may have been going through. And just the fact, and I've heard this from various people, you know, students tell you the story. They just walk by something, you know, whatever. You know, hi, have a nice day. Now, more powerful, the most, people went out today. It's the new moon of Gemini. They went out to go hand out pocket Zohars. You have no idea how many stories have come along. Somebody comes up to them and says, look, we're students of the Kabbalah Center. We want to give you a gift. This book just shines the light of the Creator, period. It's a holy book, shines the light of the Creator. It's in essence the root of Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddha, whatever. And we just want you to have it for peace and love and protection. You have no idea how many people have come back and said, you know, they broke down in tears. And then they tell a story, whatever, some terrible thing just happened, or they were just going through something, and here came somebody out of nowhere and said, here, I want to give you a gift, light and blessing. Follow, why not? Think of your side. Think of those moments when you've had a little tough day. If somebody came to you and said, look, let me give you a hug, or let me give you something nice, or do something for you, a little happiness, a little inspiration, a little support, how would you have felt in that moment? So do that for somebody else. We all have what to share. We all have a good, kind word to say. We can. Even to the nasty person. Say something kind. Why not? So it goes out from you and it'll come back to you. Maybe not through them, but it'll come back. Meanwhile, you have no idea what you planted inside them. That may take them a year to germinate, to finally make some change, but you know what? You planted the seed. And everybody else along the way watering it. So if 8 billion of us are empowering 8 billion people all at the same time, think how fast the Garden of Eden will show up again. Because it's here. So I just want to mention, there's an event. It's the Mount Sinai. Those of you who know what happened on Mount Sinai, what we received, what they usually call the Ten Commandments. Anyway, it's coming up this week. But I want you to understand Kabbalistically, just especially relative to today. The Kabbalists teach us that when a person makes the right connection, because we're talking cosmic energy, most of you understand we're not just commemorating an event 3,400 years ago, but we're actually taking the same energy that exists every year since then, and we're drawing on that energy. It's the energy of immortality. On Mount Sinai, and relative today, we said the dead, when a person's dead, what does it really mean? Disconnected from their soul. When a person truly, ultimately disconnected from their soul, then they're physically dead. The body doesn't walk, talk, do anything. But along the way, there's all the various other levels. They don't think they have enough to share. They're not looking at people kindly or nicely. They don't open up the eyes of their heart. They still hold on to their blockages and all of that. On Mount Sinai, we were all, that's what allowed us to be there in that moment that could have been the full correction of what we did in the Garden of Eden, separating from the tree of life, which created death. Simple. In the Garden of Eden, let's just make it simple. There was the tree of life, tree of death. You and me, because it wasn't them, you and me as Adam and Eve, we chose the tree of death. The physical instant gratification, give me in the world. I want them to think I'm great. I want to have the money, the car, the house, and this, disconnected from the light of life. So on Mount Sinai, we were back to that unity. Every human being at that point was willing to say and said, committed themselves, I'm here for the other person before me. That's what allowed us to have the energy of immortality. Sadly, back then, the story goes, the whole story of the golden calf, and I don't want to give you the Kabbalistic thing, go look it up, talk to your teacher, go read one of the Kabbalah books and see it. But at that moment, we did the same thing Adam and Eve did. We went back to the tree of death in those simple terms. Today, again, without all the details, we are at the same moment. You and I don't look at the world externally, but the Kabbalists say we are now, currently, we're in that same moment, Adam and Eve. Like we said, the world is no longer gray. It's either dark or light. People in this tremendous pain and therefore acting out on it, or people awakening like you and I, a greater desire for the light of the Creator, a greater desire to express all of the light of our soul, to be fully light-like in all of our behavior. That's it. So we are literally with the two trees. It's our choice. And because it's the new moon of Gemini, I want to make sure to emphasize it. This month can be. The potential is there. We just have to access it. Can be the energy of immortality. And so if you don't want yet to open your mind to literally physical immortality, but what about just simple eternal blessings? You want to be a little happier, let more light of your soul shine, then whatever blessing comes, it's yours eternally. Because the light is eternal. It wasn't fake. It wasn't like, you can't stand them inside, but you look, oh, you're so nice. Yes, I love you so much. The energy doesn't lie. So you let a little more of your soul's light out, of forgiveness or kindness or generosity or compassion, that light is eternal. So you're just connecting to your greater peace of immortality, of that peace of joy and happiness and that blessing. That's the opportunity we have. So take this month, and obviously every day following that, but make it a conscious, greater effort to start this month to just express the opposite of these things we talk. No longer blind, look and see the pain of people. So even look at the world. There's 8 billion people, less a few, in pain. Just look how they're behaving. Start sending light. If you and I could feel their pain like it's our own, when you have a little pain, what's the first thing you want to do? Heal it, yes? Yes or yes? Yeah, of course. So when we can feel their pain like it's ours, we'll want to heal it, which means send them light. Doesn't mean we have to always be there physically. Send them light. Help awaken the healing energy of the Creator inside them. So that will help heal their pain. right? Look at the poor person who thinks they have nothing to share. Go inspire them. Smile at them and say, you know what, I'm smiling at you, pay it forward to somebody else. Even that, imagine what that could do for somebody. Just, it doesn't take big things. Every little thing multiplied 8 billion times becomes huge. Huge. So the new moon of Gemini, it's time to really wake up. We say, I commit myself. Do you not believe in your commitment? I think I've shared this story probably rarely, but in the 60s, my father did a business deal with a grocery store, a man who owned a grocery store. My father did the deal that he would have the pharmacy and the grocery store and between the owner of the grocery store and my father, they shook hands. That was the deal. They shook hands. This is what it costs, this and this. The grocery store would only sell the groceries. My father would only do the pharmacy stuff, and that was it. The whole, it wasn't a contract. They shook hands. Because I learned your word is your bond. It's your commitment. You commit, you commit. That's it. You don't commit and then try not to do it. Yeah, here and there. Sometimes our intent is really to fulfill our commitment, but whatever, it's blocked. You commit to meet somebody somewhere and the train takes 20 minutes in front of you. Okay, it's not your fault, so to speak. Your intent really was. So the Kabbalists say then it's as if you were there. But if you fake it and you say, okay, I promise I'll see you then and then and then, but you already decide you're not going to be, then you don't get the energy. So we want to commit ourselves. How can we be sightful? How can we be rich with what we have to share? How can we feel love for people as if they are our children in that way? And how can we speak good? Doesn't matter who they are or what they are. There's something you could say good about them. My standard thing that I got to find somebody new because people are not going to always remember, Al Capone, right? The saying was, Al Capone loved his mother. Terrible gangster, killed people this, right, left, and whatever, but he loved his mother. So there was something to see good. And again, you don't have to hang out. We're not endorsing their bad behavior or whatever, but from your point of view, don't you want people to see the good side of you? Unless you can tell me you have nothing of a bad side, no impatience, no annoyance, no little judgment, no little animosity, whatever. So don't you want people to see the light in you and help make that grow? Then do the same for another person. When there's enough of us who are seeing the good in others, acting the good in others, speaking good about life, about our life, about other people, then all the darkness dissipates. And it's like we'll wake up out of the dream we've been in for thousands of years thinking the world is chaos and it's a dog-eat-dog world and all the terrible stuff they say about it. And we'll see. We've always been here just asleep in the Garden of Eden. And once there's a critical mass of people revealing that much light, the light will shine. And just like people in a dark room, if you're the one who turns on the light, suddenly everybody in the room sees what they didn't see. So you and I are gathering. The point that Karen started the Kabbalah Centers was to create a critical mass of people, revealing enough light that will wake up out of this stupor, this trance we're in, and we'll see we've always been in the Garden of Eden. And for me, I know that's what I want. And I can only have it if I share it with you. So may we all have the blessing today on the new moon of Gemini, when the energy of immortality is coming in, we have all the resources, there's nothing missing, just putting the pieces together. Open up the eyes of your heart, feel the pain, even feel the pain of your own soul, to help you feel the pain of another soul, and then just start to heal it. God bless. Okay, so this is the time. Again, I appreciate many of you are giving very regularly. I put it on there. Just open your heart. We cannot finish the job without your support. It's that simple. The more you contribute, the more people can come and learn, and the more various forms of the Zohar, and I want to talk about that here in a few minutes also, we can print and spread. We have people today went out, from people who've sponsored these pocket Zohars, just giving them to people. Reveal more light in the world, we all benefit. So we always take this moment just to bless your offering, remembering that money is just a vessel. And so we want to put in this vessel of our gift, of our offering, our contribution. We put our love, our blessing, and let's realize we're putting in more intense energy because we've all just had a new awakening of a new part of our consciousness, a new part of our soul, a new awareness. Greater light is already emanating out of us. And we want to inject this into this gift, that it will reach out to the heart and soul of every human being on earth by the Zohars that we spread, by the scanning of the Zohar that we do, and by supporting to be able to print and spread more of the Zohar around the world till every soul on earth wakes up and realizes that it is a pure and perfect being of light. And it is of their greatest advantage and benefit to act with greater love, kindness, and compassion. And as we send this forth out into the world, we know it circulates through the 8 billion people on the planet and will bring us back many, many, many times over, light and blessing. And together we say, Amen. So I just want to share with you, and some people asked, I sort of threw it out there last week, but let's make it a little more detailed. We're in the process, we're almost running out. We have people all over the world spreading the pocket Zohars. If you don't have one, get one. But also we're in the process of printing it. So last week I mentioned, and a few people were asking about, why don't we, the Spiritual Sunday community, just contribute towards one printing, so we can have in the dedication, if you look in them, there's always a dedication page, dedicated whatever, in appreciation, gratitude, some people put their name, whatever it is, but we could just put, from the Spiritual Sunday community. So we have a version of this going out, so everybody who gets it is sending light back to those of us who contribute. So to sponsor whatever number of thousands we print, it's 18,000. So those of you who are watching, if everybody contributes what they can, we could get to 18,000 pretty quickly. If, in particular, and this is why I was waiting actually to find the detail, but if you can contribute or would like to contribute $2,000 towards that, then you can actually put your name. So otherwise, we'll put everything together and it'll just be simple, from the Spiritual Sunday community in that way. So whatever you'd like to do, just, send me an email or whatever they call, direct message me. But you could put on the link, you can come give it here to the center and just let them know, or let me know that you're giving towards the Spiritual Sunday version of the Pinchas. Okay? So we'll put that out there. Thank you for being here. Happy new moon of Gemini. And I look forward to hearing your stories and being with you again together next week. Have a great day. God bless.
Thank you for joining us. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to this channel that you'll be notified when we post new videos. Share the video with your friends, they can also benefit. And check out the website, www.kabbalah.com, that's Kabbalah, for hundreds of articles and classes. Wish you an amazing day, and God bless.